Hello, my name is Sarah Robinson, and I am the Director of Undergraduate Advisement and Recruitment for the University at Buffalo School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. Today I'm presenting about PharmCAS, how to apply to the Doctor of Pharmacy, PharmD at UB, whether you're an early assurance or a PharmCAS candidate. The goal of this session is really to get a basic understanding of how to fill out the PharmCAS application. PharmCAS is required for all UB PharmD candidates, whether you are a current UB undergraduate or applying to our PharmD from outside UB. Whether you're applying as an early assurance candidate or a PharmCAS candidate, everybody is required to fill out PharmCAS. So what is PharmCAS? It is the Pharmacy College Application Service. It's a centralized application for pharmacy schools, very similar to what the Common Application or the SUNY application is for undergraduate applications. PharmCAS is for pharmacy admission. You can apply to multiple schools using this one application service, and the application opens in mid-July every year. All students applying to a PharmCAS school must submit through the PharmCAS application process. There are some schools that don't use PharmCAS, so if you are applying to multiple campuses, make sure you check that. The PharmCAS school directory lists all of the participating schools, so it's easy to figure out who is on PharmCAS and who is not. So you will actually get started at pharmcas.org. I'm going to be switching my screens back and forth a little bit during this presentation, so hopefully that is comfortable for you. You'll click this Apply Now, and you can come back to this page every time and click that Apply Now button in order to start your application. You'll create an account, and for UB students, you should use your UB email. We will start messaging you through the application service. So you'll want to make sure that all of your emails are going to one spot where you are checking regularly. So I would very much encourage you to use that UB email. Make sure that the name that you put on your application is the same name that we would see on your transcript. So this should be your legal name. This is particularly relevant for UB students. You want to make sure that whatever name you have in our student information system now is the same name you put on your application. Otherwise, what could happen is when you apply through PharmCAS, our student information system won't recognize you and will create a whole new student identity, and that will only complicate things for you. So for my UB undergrads, make sure that you are using consistent information that you have for undergrad as well as for pharmacy school admission. PharmCAS does have a fee for every school you apply to. The base fee is $180. That includes the first school, and then each additional school after that will be another $60. Once you go to submit PharmCAS, that is when you will be expected to pay. Your application will not be processed until payment is received, and fees are non-refundable. So if you think you may be eligible for a fee waiver or you would like to apply for one, make sure you do that first. It covers the base fee only, so that's the first campus that you apply to. These are available on a first come, first served basis. I do encourage students, if they think they may be eligible, to submit the fee waiver. When you open up your application, you will see under the ID section of the application, there's a drop-down menu. The fee waiver can be applied for right through there. If you qualify, you will have 14 calendar days from the day you get notified to submit PharmCAS. So make sure that you're ready to get your application submitted within those 14 days so that you don't lose your fee waiver. It can take up to 10 business days to hear a response. So if you're submitting your fee waiver application, make sure you're continuing to work on PharmCAS so that you can be ready to submit once you hear back. You will be receiving emails from PharmCAS as well as from the campuses that you list to receive your PharmCAS application. So make sure that you are checking your spam or junk mail folders. If you're not hearing things, you should be getting plenty of messages. These are the safe email addresses. You can go into the PharmCAS application instructions to find out about how to add to safe sender lists if you don't already know how to do that. We have these links here. These come from the application instructions in PharmCAS. For UB early assurance candidates, after October 1st, we are going to message you the same way we message our PharmCAS candidates, which is why it's so important to be checking your email regularly. You will see messages from your advisor, that's me, Sarah. You'll see messages from Tyler, who works in our Office of Student Success and Engagement. So make sure that you are checking those emails and that you are following through on any requests we're making. If you started an application before mid-July, you may have started an application for a previous cycle. So if you put information into PharmCAS and you would like to roll it over to your new application, you can do that. And you can do that each year. If you start an application now, but then decide you want to wait a year to apply, you can do that just by logging back into your application. You'll see this page that says welcome back. It will allow you to roll over information by starting your reapplication. When you do that, you will get an email confirming that you have successfully done so. It will include your PharmCAS ID. This is like your student number, your student ID number. This ID is unique to your PharmCAS application, and you will use that ID when you go to order your transcripts. There's some really great information in these emails. I know we don't all always read all of our emails. I am guilty of that myself, but definitely keep track of this information. They will walk you through how to fill out the application, much like this presentation is helping with. You'll have a link to the PharmCAS school directory, and then they will also have the instruction manual linked here. Any question or concern you have is likely answered in the PharmCAS instruction manual. So the first thing you'll want to do when you create your application is to select the programs you want to apply to. So that will look like this. You'll add your program. You can search for the program you want to apply for. And then if you haven't already selected it, you'll see a plus sign. If you add a number of programs and then decide you don't want to submit your application to them, you can come back here and you can click X and that will unselect them. When you are reviewing the application, you will see this icon. If you get to a question and you don't really understand what it's asking for or how to answer it, you can click here for more detailed information about what that question means. If you're an early assurance candidate at UB, you can submit to more than just UB. Just make sure that you are filling out all the sections of the application. So the first section in the application will be personal information. This is exactly as it sounds. This is your background information, information about you as a human. Then there's an academic section. This is going to be about your high school and colleges attended, and you'll do your transcript entry here as well. Supporting information is your information from your resume, your experiences, achievements. There'll be your personal statement and evaluations. This is what is called for references or recommendation letters. They're referred to as evaluations. And then lastly, there's a program material section. You will see an entry for every school you're planning to apply to. So if schools have additional things that they want to ask or additional information they want to collect, they will post it in that section. I want to draw your attention to the personal information section where it says background information or other information. You would only say that you have previously attended a health profession program if you have attended another professional program. So if you were previously in medical school, dental school, a nursing school, you would only say yes here if you'd previously been in a pharmacy program and then left for whatever reason. So this can sometimes be tricky for students if you're doing a pre-pharmacy program. You don't currently attend a professional program, so you would say no. Background information here can be really helpful. This helps us know a little bit more about where you've come from initially. We kind of refer to this in admissions circles as the miles traveled. You can voluntarily answer any of these questions if you would like. You could skip this whole section as well. but it just lets us know a little bit more about the journey that you've made to a doctoral program. And then special life circumstances, this is also completely optional. You do not have to fill this out unless you feel that there is some aspect of your personal or academic background that is not captured elsewhere on the application that you would want an admissions committee to know about. So if something pretty significant happened that had an impact on one of your academic semesters, but you're not planning to talk about it in your personal statement, it's not something that would be obvious on your transcript for us to learn about, this would be an appropriate place to put something like that. So for example, you were very ill one semester, your grades dropped significantly that semester, but it's really the only semester where that happened and you want to describe why it looks like that. You could describe that here very, very briefly. The academic information is typically where students will spend a lot of their time. It can be time intensive, it can be a little tedious, but it's fairly simple to understand. It might be labor intensive, but it is fairly straightforward. So under the colleges attended, you will list the campuses where you have earned college credit. So for our early assurance candidates, be sure that you're saying you're not earning a degree before entering pharmacy school, because you're not. If you are a student who is a UB undergrad or attending school outside UB and you are planning on finishing a degree before starting pharmacy school, you can say yes, and then it will ask follow-up questions about that. You'll add each college or university separately where you have those credits from. If you earned credits and they are reported on a different college's transcript, that doesn't count, unfortunately. You will need to list each college where you've earned credits separately in this section. And then you'll order an electronic transcript for each of those campuses. So you'll see this order form here. And the electronic transcripts are the most efficient to get. You would just need to find out what service that campus uses. So the way I would do that for this example is I would type in Niagara University transcript request to Google. I would go to their website and it would tell me where students can request their official transcripts. And here you can see this is parchment. So I can select parchment here. Step 1, you will search for Niagara University, or you can use this link that you've already created and go ahead and continue your request. You are going to send your transcript to PharmCAS, and you can just copy and paste that in there. And then it will ask for an ID number. This number that I'm showing you right now, this is my unique application ID. Don't use this one. Use yours. You can click that little copy button and copy it into your request. The next thing that you will need to do is enter in the information from your transcripts. First, you will go semester by semester. I recommend that you get at least an unofficial transcript to refer to as you complete the section. For UB students, you will go into the Hub Student Center, go to the Grades and Awards tile, and view your unofficial transcripts. You can get it right there. And then you will go section by section, semester by semester, and add in all of the courses as they appear on your transcript. So that will look like this. I will add a semester. Let's see if I haven't made a spring 25 semester yet. I'll say this was my first year. I completed these. I will add a course. And I will add it exactly the way it reads on my transcript. You will only change this section of the credits if you got partial credit for something. So we don't usually have a lot of these at UB, but you might be at a campus where you have a half credit for a lab, for example. You'll put the grade that you earned in the course, and then PharmCAS will calculate the CAS grade. And you'll go through each course just like this. So I won't keep going because this would be kind of boring to watch, but you get the idea. So if this is my first semester at UB, these courses may be the courses that I took, and these subjects, do the best you can with the subjects. If you take a course, for example, my UB students who take UB seminar, you might not know the exact match of the topic for this. Special topics is perfectly acceptable because UB seminar courses are special topics courses. If you are not sure what the right match is, just do your best. So a human anatomy course should be human anatomy, organic chemistry should be organic chemistry. But if you come across a non-science course and you're just not quite sure, do the best that you can, okay? That's all I can say, is just do the best that you can to find something. And if it's a course at UB like capstone or seminar, special topics would be most appropriate. I would also recommend that you include planned courses or courses that are in progress. So if I am planning a semester that I haven't yet completed courses for, I will put in, I'm making this up, so it can be, let's say, Sociology 101, Introduction to Sociology, 3 credits. You'll notice that you can't put a grade in because the course is in progress or planned, so you don't have a final grade. And that is it. This is really valuable for your campuses to see which courses you are planning to take, which of their remaining requirements you know that you need to complete. At UB, we do not report AP exams or test credits as their equivalent college course that we've given you. So for example, if you took AP chemistry and you received credit for chemistry 101, you won't see chemistry 101 in your transcript. You will just see this lump sum of test credits, the total amount of credits, and you've gotten 0 points for them. I recommend, if you have taken AP exam scores and those AP exams have satisfied a requirement for you, that my UB students will put AP credits in their first semester and just list it as test credit, put that lump sum of credits, and put the grade as P for pass. And then it won't calculate into anything, but we can refer back to that later. And I will talk about why we're doing this in just a moment. If you have credits from other campuses, if you earned college credits while you were in high school, you will need to list each of those campuses separately, and you will need to refer to those unofficial transcripts for that appropriate entry. UB undergraduates can get a head start by going to the Hub Student Center Academic Progress tile and Transfer Credit Report to remind yourself of which campuses where you've earned credits, and you'll see some of that information here to kind of get yourself started if you're waiting to receive an unofficial transcript. When you are complete, you will need to review your information. And then when you are complete with your transcript entry, you will review and finalize your transcripts. You'll indicate which is your primary college. That's typically where you're currently attending, or the campus where you've earned the majority of your credits. You'll indicate if you took lab courses, which you should have. And then you will go through and on each of your transcripts, identify which courses had labs. So this course at UB, Bio 200, is a lecture with lab course, whereas Chemistry 113 is a lab-only course. And you'll go through and indicate all of those for your labs. If you repeated a course, you'll identify that as well. If you received advanced placement credits that you've reported, and only if you've reported it, you will select that. So I'm doing that here to identify that I earned AP credits. If you have other exam credit, you can indicate that as well. If you took a course that was an honors course, you can indicate that too. Study abroad, and then that is the transcript entry section. UB does not require standardized tests for our pharmacy candidates, so you can indicate that you are not adding those here by clicking this button. So that takes you to the supporting information section. For early assurance candidates, you will indicate that you are not filling out any of these sections. So you have to go through each section and indicate, I am not filling this out by clicking the appropriate button. And for your personal essay, you do need to put something into the essay, but early assurance candidates are not required to fill out the essay, so you will enter something to this effect, UB early assurance candidate. PharmCAS candidates, whether you're a UB undergraduate or whether you're attending another school, will need to fill out these sections. For experiences, I advise students to add any and all experiences since finishing high school, even if they're not pharmacy related, even if they're not healthcare related. It helps the admissions committee to see how you spend your time when you're not in class. Same thing for achievements and any licenses and certifications. Evaluations, as a reminder, are references or recommendation letters. These are all the same things, just different terms for them. If you're an early assurance candidate, you can skip this section. PharmCAS candidates, you would need to identify at least 2 letter writers. You'll input their information into the application, and they will receive an email inviting them to submit their letter through the application portal. The ideal references are a pharmacist supervisor and a math and science professor. But if you don't have that, that is okay. You need to submit 2 letters. So if you have a social science professor, if you have a non-pharmacist supervisor, these would also be appropriate people to ask. You can enter up to 4 names. At UB, we only require 2, and they must be submitted through PharmCAS. So early assurance candidates are not required to submit the personal statement, but PharmCAS candidates are. The personal essay prompt does not change year to year, so you can look that up now and you can start planning on how to write your personal statement. They do advise that students not use AI tools for writing it, although it can be used for idea generation, it can be used for proofreading. So please be aware of this because some schools may view your essay very harshly if it's determined that it was too much of it was written by AI. You want to make sure it's not personalized for any specific institution. Keep it general because this essay is going to go to every campus you apply to. The program materials section is where you will fill out specific information for each of the campuses where you're applying. So you'll see the list of campuses here. UB section, our first tab is just informational, so you can read through this. Our second tab is a list of websites we want students to identify that they have read and understand. We will have you answer specific questions about whether you're a current student or not a current student, if you know your UB person number, whether or not you're in the early assurance program, pursuing a 3+4 program at UB. So if you're in early assurance, you can't be pursuing this. Or if you are in an educational affiliation agreement with an external campus. So you can really only be one of these 3 things. You could potentially be none of them, and that is okay as well. We ask about citizenship status. We ask about the highest level of college. If you are not planning on finishing a degree, how many years are you going to have approximately? If you're a reapplicant. If you have immediate family members who went to UB, white coat size, this is just an estimate so that we are prepared with the right numbers of coats for when that time comes. If you have a preference for a type of interview, most of our interviews are going to be virtual. And then each of those websites from earlier, we will have you check to say, yes, I've read them and I understand them. If you have completed coursework, if you are currently enrolled in courses but plan to have them finished, or if you're not currently enrolled but plan to complete prerequisites, and then we can ask you to list the prerequisites that you are still waiting to complete. You can upload documents here. You're not required to upload anything, but if there is something that you would like to include, this is particularly relevant to AP scores because this can help us to make sure that you have scores that we would accept to satisfy requirements. At UB, a score of 4 or 5 would satisfy a requirement. And then finally, we have students go through each of the prerequisites and match these courses, match the courses from your transcript to your prerequisite list. This is part of the reason why we really urge students to list courses that are planned or in progress. Because if you are planning to complete them and you can still match them to the prerequisite list. If you don't put your planned or in progress courses, you may be in a position where you are going through and listing that you don't have anything to match to that prerequisite. This helps you to be able to see which courses you have completed, which courses you have left. And then we can see the courses that you've taken that are a match for our prerequisites. Once you have gone through all of the programs that you're applying to and finished their respective questions, then you will be complete with the application. Just a note for prerequisites, early assurance students won't have English Composition 2. UB undergraduates applying through PharmCAS will use their Communication Literacy 2 course to satisfy that requirement. After you submit your application, you'll be prompted to do an academic update at the end of the following semester. Early assurance students are not required to complete academic update. All of our other PharmCAS candidates are. So you will go in, you will update with the, you will update your transcript entry section ideally by just listing the grades that you've earned for the classes that you'd already listed. You can also update any future planned semesters as well if any of those plans have ended up changing. If you put courses in that were planned or in progress that you ended up changing a schedule and not taking, that is perfectly fine. You can just update that section through the academic update. If those plans change, that doesn't negatively impact you. We just want to see that you're planning to get all of the prerequisite courses done before you start pharmacy school. Your final step to your application is to submit. You would add any additional schools you plan to apply to, pay your fees, and then keep track of those emails for any updates or alerts, specifically academic updates, making sure your transcripts are received. And as I said, the application instruction section of the website does have a PDF. I like the PDF because it's very searchable. You can click Control Find on your keyboard. You can type in whatever you're trying to find the answer to, and it'll bring you right there. So I would definitely encourage students, if you find that this presentation wasn't helpful enough, go to the application instruction section of PharmCAS and you can find your answers there. Early assurance candidates, remember, your application is due by October 1st. For our PharmCAS candidates, applications are due by June 1st, but we consider applications on a rolling basis. So PharmCAS candidates are really encouraged to apply early in the cycle. I would say by January of the year that you're looking to enter would be considered pretty early in the cycle. And then that ideally means you only have that spring academic update window to submit. I hope this was helpful. Please be in touch with us if you have any questions after today, and we look forward to hearing from you.